Say kids, what time is it? PDR tool time.
Hey everybody, this is John Hiley with PDR Tool Time. Chilling out here with Vince D'Alessandro and Daniel Grom. And we got a little bit of an episode here that was by request from Vinny here. So Vince, why don't you clue us in and tell us what we're going to be talking about tonight, and let us in on what you want to talk about.
Hey, John. Hey, Daniel. How are you today?
Excellent.
Excellent.
And you, John?
I'm
You look
doing
good, man.
I'm doing wonderful. Doing wonderful.
Well, last week I was listening to the replay of the podcast with Tom Price, and there was a common thread that kept on coming up with Tom and with Daniel and myself, and that is the pain that we've gone throughout the years of doing paintless dent removal, and our aches and pains, and the different tools that have been evolving throughout the years and making our jobs easier. So I thought, hey, why don't we do an episode that has to do with ergonomically correct tools, tools that have been invented later on, more recently, and produced and given to us and for sale, and things that people have come up with on their own that have made our jobs easier and less strenuous on our body. I know for myself, I started doing PDR in '95, and with Dent Wizard, we were taught the upside down technique, and I thought that was the best technique possible. And here I am in 2016, and I'm broken.
You're going to go there. You're going to go there, Vince, huh? Upside down, huh? You're going to go there? Really? Come on, you're supposed to get offended about this, dude.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's still the way I do it, but I definitely have changed some of my techniques with hand position and wrist position. And like Tom Price was talking last week, we were taught to push and pry rather than twist. And now I twist a lot more, and the tools had to evolve to my technique. And prior to them evolving, I've developed a lot of issues with torn ligaments in my wrists, carpal tunnel, tendinosis, tendinitis, everything. So, and I know that the tools out today, they're a lot more gentle on our bodies, and techniques and fulcrum points and things like that are designed to make our job a little bit quicker and easier on our bodies. So, Daniel, it takes you what, about 10, 15 minutes to get out of bed in the morning, and sounds like you have a sack of nickels in your pocket. And
Yeah. Well, I have an excuse. I had a motorcycle accident when I was in my early 20s. I hit a semi-truck head on, and I tore apart my knee, crushed my femur, pulled apart my pelvis, broke 7 ribs, punctured a lung, had internal bleeding, and fractured my back.
That's it?
And I was laid up for 2 years. When I woke up in the hospital a day later, I had 3 pins in my knee, a pin in my femur, 6 pins in my hip with this bar contraption that held my hip together. And I literally looked like Frankenstein. And one of my good friends told me later on that he came in to see me, and he took one look at me, and he had to turn around. He couldn't even come in the room looking at me, and that's how bad I was. So now, fast forward, I'm paying for it. So I'm starting to get arthritis and stuff. But to the point that the tools, when we started, were pretty basic. And the number one thing that the first thing that changed was the handles. The simple one handle. What do you call that? I don't even know what to call that.
T handle, maybe.
Oh no, you're talking about the lazy bend handle.
No, the lazy, the question mark handle.
Yeah, I still like them.
All the first tools, I hate them. I can't stand them.
Oh, you hate them? I still like mine.
No, I can't stand them.
I got mine.
I put all mine away. Yeah, as soon as the first handles, nice dipped handles, and those came from Dentcraft, I think, came out with the first nice handles that I remember, and that right there made a big difference in just the comfort of your hand, being able to twist that tool. What do you think?
I'd agree with you there, John.
You know what? I honestly, I love the PDR finesse handles now, and they do have that same style to them where they kind of go into a T. But I'm kind of old school with some of the stuff that I've had that are the question mark style handles, and I've got a couple tools there that I just love. And literally, I've got some duplicates that are identical that are PDR finesse, and I still bust out my PDQ. I still bust out that old Ding King tool. And I don't know what it is. I just keep going back to it. Now, I used to have to use them tools as door tools. And I think that's where there was a lot of pressure on your wrist and a lot of problems when you're using them tools, when you're going down and using them as twist tools indoors. For instance, I got one of them question mark tools that's the hockey stick. And occasionally, when nothing else will get at that hockey stick, I'll go in there and I'll still use it as a door tool. It's like one of them ones you got to watch the top of the window frame because the edge of it's wore down, and if you catch it, it's going to scratch the window frame going in. And then occasionally I got to bust out my other one, and a lot of times that's for like what Vince was talking about. Sometimes you got to get into a door and push. Like you got to push. You're not twisting anymore. You got to leverage. You got to pry against it. So on occasion, I bust them bad boys out, put them in a door for prying situations. But nowadays, I do still use them in certain situations. But I think what saved me more than anything is taking them out of my arsenal as door tools and picking up adjustable handle door tools. Because I'm not like you guys. I mean, you guys have...
You mean ratcheting handles?
Ratcheting
right?
handles, yeah. Adjusting ratcheting handle door tools.
That was a big leap forward. When we got those, that was huge.
Oh, for sure. PDR Finesse, first ones, I think, that came out with them. In fact...
They were up there.
Yeah, I want to say Marty Runick. Marty Runick was the guy who designed them to begin with. He was making them out of bicycle handles, and an actual ratchet is how Marty Runick was making them. And
now you're going back to
I'm going back to the Doording.com days.
Yeah.
When Marty was posting articles teaching guys how to make these ratcheting tools, and what he was doing, he was taking bicycle grips and he was putting them around some sort of tube, and he was connecting it to an actual ratchet, which was allowing you to do your ratcheting door handles. And then I soon remember PDR Finesse thereafter, because PDR Finesse was on them Doording forums. And PDR Finesse, they were smart early on. They said, let's get in good with the technicians. Let's hang out with and talk to Ricky Bain. Let's go to the Mobile Tech Expo. Let's become friends with these guys. And not only are we going to become friends with them, we're going to call them and we're going to ask them to report to us and tell us what works. And I'm sure Ultra does the same thing. He's same thing going on out there. But I specifically remember PDR Finesse being involved in Doording.com, big time back then. I think even old Ike was in there posting and stuff.
Ike and it seemed like they all kind of hit at the same time to me, but I think Ike was definitely one of the first innovators after Marty started throwing out ideas. And I think that's the best part about Doording and Facebook and our message boards, because we're inspiring other people, other technicians and other companies to make tools. And even the big tool makers, they're paying attention, even though they might not be out there saying, you don't see them too much on the boards, but someone's paying attention, someone's reporting back to them. They have to.
Right.
So let me ask you this question now. So of all the tool handles, of all the tools that are out there, which ones are your favorites that are the most comfortable?
I don't think any of them are comfortable myself. But I believe I talked to Steve about this a few years ago. And if it wasn't Steve, I'm not sure who it was. But they said they have to make their handles universal for everyone's hands. It's not like they can make it specific. There would be no money in it if they made like several different types of handles to fit a small hand, a medium hand, and a large hand. They have to make them universal. Otherwise, production-wise, it doesn't make sense.
Well, have you checked out Jerry Blem's for his small hand tools?
Yes.
Jerry Blem makes a freaking nice handle.
Very nice. I love his handle. But there's one handle that none of us are going to mention. I'm just going to throw it out there, and that's A1, those Quicksilver ones. I don't have any of them, but they look damn comfortable. You know what I'm talking about? They're pistol grip style.
You
from
know,
A1.
I do think I've seen them in their catalog there. I think I've seen them in their catalog. You know, I'll tell you, one of my favorite tools or my favorite handles are definitely PDR Finesse, in my opinion. I do like Ultras as well. I like the way Ultra has the kind of, you know, they've had the same handle for a while on a lot of their rods and stuff like that. But I like the way PDR Finesse kind of went with a different style. They kind of thin out. They got a good grip on them. And I'm a fan of a lot of sharp tools, so I'm always using that Mark Zirkus set. And I just haven't had a problem at all with them, and just the pushing and being able to put the palm of your hand on the top of them, close in with your fingers, grab from the underside, twist with them. I've just found that they're probably my favorite. And, you know, I've tried some Dentcraft stuff, and I think the tubes are a little bit too big for my hands. I kind of like the fit of the PDR Finesse, just happens to fit with me just right. And then as far as adjustable handle tools, I haven't found any. I haven't used any Ultras. I have used some Drew's tools, adjustable handles. I thought them were kind of nice. The handle grip, anyhow. But again, I think to me, always went back to PDR Finesse. They had a decent size, and I just always tend to gravitate to them when they're on my cart. Now, I have used the A1 handle, and I don't know if you guys know this, but I think A1 developed their handles off of a machining handle. So they dubbed another product. I could be wrong about this, but I've seen their adjustable handles. I've actually seen them handles on like machine presses and things like that. So I think what they did was to keep the price down, because I'll be honest with you. I mean, they're reasonable priced. I mean, granted at that. I mean, if you want a set of adjustable handle tools that'll work for you, and you ain't got the Benjis to throw out, you know, whatever it takes to get on with some PDR Finesse ones, then, you know, they're money. They're nice tools. They don't bend. They're good. They are definitely good. But the handle grip is a little bit tiny for me. The little ball that's on the end, it kind of, it's not long enough to get the type of leverage I like, and that plays a factor in my day to day. I'm a speed technician. I try to move as much money as possible, and much metal as possible. So, you know, if I got to pay an extra $100 for a tool, it's going to pay me back in dividends. You know.
That's one thing I like about Ultras. If you're talking like a right handle or left handle type of handle, you know, that goes off to one, that flags off to one side. They have it where you can screw on an extension if you want, and I do like that a lot. But theirs is an aluminum knurl type of handle, and I end up wrapping it with grip tape of some sort, usually, to kind of pat it. I like a nice rubber dipped handle. I think it's more comfortable on your
What
hand.
I did with that, Daniel, is I make mine look like a hockey stick. The gnarl handle, the aluminum handle, I'll take gaffer's tape and wrap it with texture, kind of like what you guys were doing with the new style with the shrink wrap that you got going on, using the paracord and then shrinking.
Right.
What is that product called?
There's several ones. I think Mike's been using one. It's for the fishing rods. He's putting them on them wooden handled hammers, and he's wrapping the paracord on it. But then I also found there's other products out there too. You can actually use some 3M shrink wrap. What people they actually use that shrink wrap stuff in the electrical industry. When they're running wires and stuff like that, and they got a cluster of wires, they'll take one of them big long shrink wraps and actually heat it down and kind of bundle all them wires together. So
sure, it heat shrinks it down. I think that's a great idea that you guys got going, and I think one of you should do a tutorial and show everyone exactly what you guys are doing. I think it'll blow up, because really it's all about, for me nowadays, it's all about the ergonomics, how it feels in my hand, and how I still have to be able to feel the tool and feel the dent coming out, but it has to be comfortable in my hand and not add so much stress. Now, there years ago, about 2 years ago, I ran into a guy that his company is called Persona Grip, and he makes steering wheels, custom steering wheels for the NASA for NASCAR, those NASSholes over there at NASCAR, for NASCAR and for funny cars and all sorts of stuff. Indy cars. It's really cool product, but he is very difficult to deal with. He actually worked with Dent Wizard about 10 or 15 years ago to develop it. He holds the patent on the product, and he just will not release it. And a couple years ago, he had a heart attack, and he had a change of heart, and I started working with him, and I was going to reintroduce it into the PDR industry. And what this stuff is, it's basically like the same thing that you use for mouth guards, but it's softer material. And it's ergonomically correct. The company name is Persona Grip, and if you go, his websites are super cheesy, and but whatever. You just can't buy the stuff, but it works great. And I have my Ultra wrap, or my Ultra double bend wrapped with it, and I also have my Craftsman hammer. Paul Corden wanted me to mention my Craftsman hammer in this episode, so I had to make sure I had to throw in there. But
so what you do is you wrap this thing, and then you heat it up, and then you grip it, and it molds to your hand.
It molds to your hand.
Yeah.
It molds to your hand. Then you flash it with water, just like you did your mouthpieces back in the day when you were a kid. Yep. And it stays there. And I've now product tested this thing for 2 years straight. And it's the ugliest looking thing, but it does wonders. And I mean, I think it saved me a lot of turmoil with my wrist.
You know, that would be cool if you could order a set of tools, you get them, and you dip the handles in boiling water, and then grab them and mold them to your hand. What a great idea that would be.
It is. Well, you both have wives. Have you ever gone into their hairbrushes? And there's now handles on hairbrushes that are gel. They're really soft, and they'll mold to your hands. Then you let go, and it just releases, and it goes back to its original form. Have you seen those? I think those would be fantastic for the PDR industry.
I have not seen this. My wife is not as high tech as your wife, I guess.
No, well, I had
my hairbrushes.
Well, actually, my dog brush has it too.
Oh wow!
So I'll have to.
Oh, that must be an LA thing. I don't know.
No, not at all. But that's it. I think it's important because there is a lot of vibration that's going on, especially if we're knocking down, if we're doing big dents. We're using hammers, and we're catching that whole vibration that's going through our wrists and up our arms and into our forearms and eventually into our shoulders.
Right. You know, an interesting thing, too, is all the carbon fiber that's being rolled out here. I mean, you know, that's got to be definitely a game changer as well. I was sitting here thinking about this. There's so many things that have changed the game, you know. And I want to say not only is it a shift in products, but it's also a shift in what technicians will do while they're working on PDR. I was actually talking to you guys about this a little bit before the show started, but I remember back when I did not own a hood stand, and I was doing hail, and I was doing all of my hail vehicles. I was strapping down the hood, you know. I had my big 4-foot light that didn't have very good angles on it. You know, it had the cardboard style fog around the one light that was on it. So I got this clunky light. I'm shoving it through windows, trying to avoid headliners so I can get that deep, tight angle on a hood. And, you know, I'm working a hailstorm. I look over and I see this guy with a hood stand that's just buzzing through these hoods. I mean, he's like, I think it was Jason Chaney was the very first hailstorm that I seen somebody who was super good on working hoods while they were on a hood stand. And it like dawned on me, like, man, I'll tell you what, it takes 10 minutes to yank a hood off, and it literally saves you hours in time. I mean, because you're just running around that thing, getting all them nice reflective angles, spinning it around, and I mean, it's so convenient. And, you know, if you're a real hail tech, you got an office chair with that hood stand.
Yeah, and you're right, John. The hood stand definitely was probably the biggest game changer, not just for speed, but for wear and tear on your body. You know, like you said, trying to get the angles and sitting there setting up your light while it's still attached to the car and this and that. It's like, oh my God, But who the
Yeah,
hell?
and setting the height the way you want it,
Yeah.
that's a huge thing,
You want to stand up and fix the hood? Stand up and fix the hood. You want to sit down on the bench or a chair, an office chair? Do that.
Well, not only that, it's also hard to fix the dents perfect with the hood at an angle like that,
Sure.
And not
Oh, yeah.
being able to push your light back at a far enough angle where you can really see it is another thing. I found myself when I was working the hoods, the hail damage hoods on the car, literally I found myself glue pulling afterwards and looking in the body shop's overhead lighting and finding little lows and kind of pecking them out there. Hey, guys, I literally seen a buddy of mine, Michael Meggs. You guys might know him. He lost his wife a couple years back, and we had a big fundraiser for him. PDR Nation, all of us ended up raising, $10,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
And a real good buddy of mine. He mentored me in the hail game, and he's a very, very good dude. But I actually remember he used to work some of the nastiest hoods with the hood on the car. And have you guys ever seen somebody in a hailstorm that's totally burnt out, like their eyes are toast, like you've been working 12-hour days for 7 days a week for like months on end?
Oh, yeah.
And then somebody just gets so burnt out that their eyes start getting droopy. They start kind of walking around like they're on like too much Robitussin or something like that. And they're, and it normally happens right before a guy's getting ready to go home for a weekend because he just wants to get home, And I remember watching Michael Meggs on that last car before he had to go, working it and going around it. I mean, he was just drooping around it. Anything bad that could happen on that car happened. I think he pulled paint. He ended up breaking some sort of plastic trim, taking the headliner down. And then to cap it off, he was finishing off his hood, and I'm not kidding you, the little S-hook in the O-ring? It ends up slipping right on one of his last pushes on the hood, buckles his tool down, and crunches the fender in.
No.
So he had to fix the fender. Yeah, it was like a big bummer for him that day. And but he's a tremendous dude. Any of you guys out there who know him, or Justin Fowler, James Fowler, any of them guys, them are kind of the guys that I rolled with, that I had a chance to work with in the hail game to begin with, So Bryce
and John,
Rockhill.
And a lead into that too with the hood stand and doing hail was the invention or the onslaught of LED boards. That took away the fatigue on your eyes. Because I mean, staring at fluorescent bulbs for hours, 15 hours a day, fixing. Oh my gosh.
My eyes
fixing hail damage.
used to water all the time, and I had a hard time, man. I had a hard time for a while.
Well, we used to use the Grolux bulbs in our hail lights because they had a little bit of a purple hue to them, so they were a little bit lighter on your eyes or less stressful. But geez, that glazed look, I think it was from working hoods on cars and looking at fluorescent lights all day long.
So you say you used to use grow bulbs, huh? I don't imagine that being from California, huh? Using your grow bulbs how'd you guys figure that out?
No, dude, that was back in. Actually, I don't.
Is that all the hydroponic tomato gardens you guys got going on out there?
Yeah, baby.
That was back in Chi-Town.
I remember when it was revolutionary. Do you guys remember when Ultra came out with them orange slips that went over your bulb, or the different color slips that went over your bulb?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was good.
But it was either the Grolux light bulbs or the Reptile light bulbs too, because they kind of casted a purple hue as well.
Okay, here's a question I want to ask all of our listeners. Who made the very first production hood stand? Who made the very first production LED light?
Yo, I'm gonna bet Tom Price has that down.
Tom Price is not allowed to answer.
That dude is full of knowledge. But hey, guys, before we move on to that, so that's the question. That's the question. Hey, if you guys give us that answer on our forum, can we give him a T-shirt, Vinny?
Yes, we can, but you have to come up with both.
You got to come up
LED
with both.
Production and the first hood stand in the production.
All right, guys, and we're going to go ahead and go to a short little commercial here, and we'll catch y'all as soon as we get back.
Hey, you veteran PDR techs, thinking about getting into motorcycle PDR? Or perhaps you already are, but you don't have that professional stand. Well, the new Daniel Grom MPDR Vice 2.0 offers the ultimate gas tank setups with better leverage, stability, and access when it comes to those challenging dents. Order your MPDR Vice Stand 2.0 at motopdr.com.
And we're back.
It's right smack hail season now, and what better timing than to have a hail damage video explaining the short and engaging repair process. At Den Trainer, we just released a new video about the steps a consumer needs to do after the vehicle has been hit with hail. It's called It Hailed, What's Next? A professional video with your company logo and information. For more details and cost, please visit dentrainer.com/store.
All right, you can say that now, Vinny.
And we're back. Now, there was a couple guys on the Periscope that had mentioned something to you as well, John. And it was actually a topic on one of the Facebook forums this week, too. And it's come up quite a bit in the past. And it's a simple one, too. And shoes. What type of shoes do you wear?
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think Bryce Rockhill, I'm going to say it. He has always been putting out them gay Skechers forever. Oh, my God. He used to wear them ones. Hey, I love you, Bryce, by the way. But he used to wear, you guys ever remember them ones? And so people are going to crack on me on this one because people actually love these things. But do you remember them Skechers that look like a round basketball on the bottom? They had them super big soles.
They recalled them.
Oh,
Too many
did they?
people were falling. Oh, yeah, there was lawsuits on those suckers.
Bryce was trying to get me everybody to wear. He would show up, and I had other hail techs would show up on them things, and I could not bear to wear them. I can't. Okay, look, I understand about functionality and feeling good, but I can't stand to look that ridiculous all day long. I don't know. What do you? I mean, look. What do you guys think? I mean, I actually been wearing KDs, which are Kevin Durant's, and they're a basketball shoe, but they fit my foot perfectly because he's got kind of a high arch, I guess. A lot of basketball players' shoes got a flat type deal, but I've been wearing the Nike KDs, and I absolutely love them. So, what's you guys' favorite?
Yeah, I stay away from Nike. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wear Keens,
Okay.
hiking shoes. And I get them at REI. I have a membership.
Hippie boy.
And they end up blowing out about 8 months. They'll blow out a little bit, and I take them back, and I'm on my third free pair.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
They're great. They're blowing out here, and they give me a new pair.
Nice.
So there's my tech tip.
You're getting the upgraded version too, right?
Yeah.
Or they
They haven't changed them. They might come out with a new color or something like that. But
yeah.
So what you
changed
rolling with, Vinny?
I went to who's a foot doctor? What are those guys called? Podiatrist.
Yeah.
Gynecologist?
And a guy. I went to the gynae for some shoes.
For a happy pappy?
A happy pappy. But yeah, so I went to a podiatrist. He sized me up because I was having foot problems, and he said, "You're definitely wearing the wrong size shoes." I thought I was a 10.5. I've been wearing a 10.5 since I was like 11 years old. And he's like, first thing you need to do is have, this amount of space in the front of your shoe. And I got it schooled on shoes, the proper fit of shoes. So I found out I'm a double wide, which I was always trying to, sneak my feet into Vans and Adidas and Nikes, all these narrow shoes. So I wear New Balance or Asics. And most importantly is I went and got fitted for orthotics. So whenever I go buy a new pair of shoes, I take my orthotics and I slip them in and I make sure they fit properly. And,
I wear orthotics too, and they make a huge difference. Huge.
Now I paid $100 for my orthotics, and I've had them now. This is going to sound gross, but I've had these orthotics for 3 years now, and I haven't changed them. They're really good made orthotics. I thought $100, but it's.
What I do is I take mine into the shoe repair place, and they just put a new layer on top. They take off the top layer, and they put a new layer on top, and that's all you really need to do.
Wow, you're sounding just as cheap as me now. That's something John could get on.
Because the base is good, but you just put a new layer on there. But orthotics are huge. I'm like you. I got Flintstone feet too. I'm a double wide. That's why I wear the Keens, because they have a big toe box.
So
Yeah.
Mike, now chiming in for Mike. So he wears Z coils, right? You guys know what I'm talking
I have no
about?
idea.
Z coils.
Where are those? Those some hip hop shoes or
You
something?
guys have never seen Z coils?
I'm gonna Google it
Oh,
right
I
now.
know what you're
Go,
talking about now.
yeah. Google it. Go to the any rest home or any like old person type deal, and
Got it.
yeah. So why Mike's not here, I thought I'd just go ahead and chime in for him, let
Yeah,
everybody
we're
know.
not ripping on him enough for not being
Yeah,
here.
he's rocking some Z coils. So
Dude, how did you even know about those? I've never seen those
Dude,
before in my life.
they got a Z coil. They got like several Z coil shops around here, man. We got a bunch of old people live around this place.
Well, it must be an Ohio thing.
And,
Rocking them in
and
Ohio.
I remember like all the old dudes coming through tell me like they go in and buy all their shoes at Red Wing, So we
Yeah.
got
I think I've also seen him wear Crocs.
oh wow.
No, that's a Wade Hartley thing. He only wears Crocs.
Oh, that's true.
Is that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Wade.
Actually, I like Crocs. I like my Crocs.
Yeah.
Do you work in them?
No, I tried for a little while. I think I hurt my foot one time and I had to wear them, and but they just don't last.
Like John said, I wouldn't be caught dead in Crocs. I never bought a pair, and I never will.
I've never wore a pair.
Slippers. I have a pair of Crocs slippers, and they're the best slippers ever.
Right. So, I want to ask you guys, getting out of shoes and going a little bit further. What do you guys think about, here's the one thing. I want to talk a little bit about the new guys. We're always talking about old school stuff, but I want to talk about a little something I see with some of the new guys out there. Like one of the first things that I got to correct when a guy comes to me and he's only been doing PDR for a year, or maybe he's just had a dent trainer membership and it's his first time for personal training or something like that. And Mike agrees with me as well because he trains a lot of new people in the industry, and so do I. But one of the things that we see is that they don't get comfortable. That's like the first thing that I break down on a new guy is that I'm like, okay, jump over here. I'm going to pop this little dent in this door and I'll go ahead and push it out. And I watch his body and his posturing and his positioning of his body. And oh my gosh, that is the very first thing that I've got to totally break down and say, no, your arm doesn't have to be levitating out here while you're pushing out a door dent. Lean it against the door frame, okay? You don't have to be, you don't have to be sitting with your elbow clear up. Lay it down here. The very first thing I got to do is just loosen people up, So for any of the new guys out there that you're out there working, if you find yourself in these ridiculously stiff positions, move your hand around. Find out what's comfortable. I think that is one of the keys to really because over time, I believe as technicians, we've been doing this for so long that we just naturally fall into these positions that are easy on us. Like, I think I was talking on another podcast. I don't know if you guys do this. Sometimes I'll be pushing through a wire loom, and I'll actually take my inner leg and connect it to my elbow, and I'll do the arm, leg, elbow push using my leg muscles in conjunction with my arm muscles just to get that stress off my arm.
Yeah.
Can you guys come up with some good examples of some things that you guys do?
Well, behind the back pool move, like you're like shooting pool behind your back,
Yeah.
I'll do that on truck beds, and I'll just lean against the tool, lean back. I also have an adjustable seat from Snap-on, and be able to raise and lower the height of the seat if you're going to be camping out on a door for a while on a good-sized dent. I get comfortable with it. Or a creeper.
A creeper, yeah. One thing I do that comes to mind immediately is if I'm working on a hood and I'm just going to be using a hand tool to pick it out really quick in the open access area, I'll actually put my foot up in the hood compartment and leverage right off of my knee. I'll put my elbow on my knee and just push it up real quick and get in and get out as quick as possible, faster than going and finding an S hook and finding a hole to put the S hook and things like that. I do that a lot. You're looking at me like I'm crazy, Daniel.
No. You gave me an idea, and I want to talk about it. I can't wait to talk about it.
You know what I do too? When I'm working on a hood also, and if it's a little bit farther back on the hood, I'll take I'll take my tool and find a place to position it on the engine compartment, and I'll use the weight of the hood and push down and lift the hood up and down and fix the dent just by lifting the hood up and down onto the.
You had to do those on the old Mercedes.
The Mercedes, absolutely, right on the body line.
They didn't have any bracing. They had nothing.
Yeah, nothing
and so
at all.
you had to do that. Yeah.
You would just throw a rag on the end of it and just use the weight of the hood.
Now you gave me an
and
idea.
Down.
Yeah, you gave me an idea. So have you guys ever worked in the quarter panel of a trunk, and you actually take your tool, you take your leg, and you brace it against the other side of the opening of the hood, the opening of the trunk, and you put your knee on the end of your tool, and you push with your knee. Have you done that?
Yeah, that's why your knee's even more screwed up than it should be.
I have not done that. Now, I've sat in the trunk and pushed with my foot.
Yeah, you know what? Before there was glue, I would do that. I would get in the trunk, I would take my shoes off, and I would use the heel and the ball of my feet and push out a huge, nasty dent really quick, and then come back and tool it out through the.
Now, is that because you couldn't get a good swing with your Craftsman hammer?
Yes, absolutely.
You know, when you were talking, Vince, I want to tell the whole audience out there that I studied for the longest time, like, what makes a hail tech fast, and that's how I became pretty quick at doing hail damage repair, because I looked at what the top guys were doing, and I said, I broke down why they were fast, what they were doing, how they did it, and that was a big thing right there, was learning how to push with just a tool, open-handed, and not going through your rods, and pushing out most of the hail hood with your hand. So I would actually take my my pink whale tail, and I actually use that for about 50% of the hail hoods. Actually, I'd say I use that little pink whale tail from Dentcraft. I would say actually 80% of that hail hood, I will run through it because I'm pushing off of my knee right into the dent, just lifting my knee up into the dent like Vince was talking. I got a couple different hood stands that I use. I kind of put my foot up on the bottom rail of the hood stand, and I just go to town on that thing, and then anytime I need longer leverage, I throw a gutter hook up right on the edge of the hood, and, right on top of the hood, just like you would hook it on the gutter, I throw it right on top of the hood, and I throw my tools in there and run through that hood.
And what I would use, what we learned back in the day with Dent Wizard is we were all issued an awl. A stubby awl, right? So the handle is stubby,
right?
And
that's because you guys don't drill.
We don't drill. We just widen out holes. So immediately we would cut that awl down to size to fit in our hand, and we would grind it into a round tip tool, and we would sit there and fix hail damage with that tool alone by hand, picking out the dents quickly. Boom, boom, boom. Next, boom, boom, boom. Next, boom, boom, boom. And all while we were leveraging off of our knee, while our knee was sitting in the engine compartment. That was before hood stands. Now hood stands, like you said, John, you have legs to do the same thing off of. You can sit there and get nice and comfortable.
I'll tell you, I love using the pink whale tail just for the fact that you can throw them dents up, you can get the corner of it on it and just push them dents up, but then you can also jam it into a brace. And I kind of try to kill two birds with one stone while I'm in there. That's why, for any of the guys out there who want to try to understand why I would use a whale tail to even push a dent up, is that you can just jam it right into the brace as well. You'd be surprised. You play with it a little bit, but I actually got to get a new one. Mine is burnt down on one edge. So
wow,
one edge got a little crispy and snapped bent off, kind of. And so I'm in the market for a pink whale tail. So if anybody's got a used one they want to sell, hit me up on PDR Tool Time. Join the Revolution Facebook page. Woohoo. Hit it up. If you're not a member, you better get on. And write us a review on iTunes. Okay? We love seeing your reviews. I think last time I checked, we had like 14, 17 reviews. Well, we need to have 100 on there because thousands of people have downloaded this podcast. If we're adding value to your job, to your life every day, add a little value to our podcast by writing us a review. There's your commercial. That was not recorded, off the cuff.
John, do you have any of those new reviews that you could read to us a little bit later?
I may have it, yeah, if you guys want to carry on here a little bit. I know we're getting close to our tech tip session here, but you guys carry on, and I'll try to find some, okay?
Absolutely.
So
go ahead.
the next thing that I found worked wonders, and I've mentioned this before, is lighter hammers. Hammers that are a lot less weight on them will lessen that fatigue on your forearms. And the first one is Drew's Tools has a carbon fiber little pencil. It's like a $35 hammer, and but it's a blending hammer. It's not really a hammer. You don't strike with it, but you blend with it. And then Dentcraft has their aluminum hammer, which I love. And then, of course, the new one from Dent Technologies, and that has a carbon fiber handle, and that lessens that vibration going down to your arm.
Yeah, I think you're the only one that has the new Dent Technologies hammer. I'd love to try that thing out.
I know he needs to step up, and he promised us some. So,
I agree. The hammers have definitely were a game changer and ergonomically correct things and less stress on the arms. I too have multiple hammers. I don't have a Shane Jack's hammer, but I assume it's just like the others.
Oh, I have the original. I've actually got the one that's made out of the raw aluminum. So that's his original 12-inch one. And then I got his also his I don't know, it's like 17 or 18-inch one. I definitely recommend that one. I do like the longer one. He did a few things to it. He drilled it out. He beveled the edges a little bit differently. But hey, I'll tell you one thing: you can't break it.
Well,
everybody remembers that.
I think there's a new one down the pipe. I think someone's going to come up with a really good hammer that's going to be very utilitarian and just.
I've heard of that top secret tool too.
Yeah. There's someone out there developing something that
we get a lot of phone. We get a lot of people that come to us about that stuff. So hopefully, maybe we'll get a chance for him to release it on this show, and we bring him on here, so we all know who we're talking about here. And I've heard the same things, I've seen the same things, and I'm looking forward to using this because the way he talks about it and the way he says the versatility of it and this kind of stuff, I'd really like to see it to be a believer. So, and you guys know how I am. Like, it took me forever to endorse the Black Plague gray tabs. I mean, it took me forever, and I just actually Keith sent me some of them years ago, whenever he first came out with them, and I think just today I came out with my official endorsement on them because they do rock, and it takes me a while to really get to know something and know its place in my arsenal. And I'll tell you what, I was using them Black Plague tabs a day, and I found out, I mean, the gray ones, they just bend to the contour and the curve of the damage so well that it helped me out a lot on this really nasty crush that I'm working on right now.
Well, and that's another thing.
Oh,
that's another thing that has saved us a lot is glue pulling. That's going to save wear and tear on your body as well.
And not to mention just regular glue, the Colafria has saved a phenomenal amount as well. I can't even believe we've waited this long to talk about it. That guy I was training was 70 years old. That is the one thing that he told me was life-changing for him was Colafria. Because he was getting to the point where, I mean, you might be able to take his arm and, snap it over your leg or something like that, I mean, it was like he was getting kind of where he didn't have the muscle. I mean, you're 70 years old. He looked really good for being 70.
You trained a guy that was 70?
Yeah, just recently. Man, you go to my Facebook page, you'll see him. You won't think that he's 70. His name was Jay Shim, and he's down from Paul Corden's neck of the woods, but he's been doing PDR for 20 years. So Paul knows who he is. Brad knows who he is down there, and he came to me for advanced training. But one of the big things was to get the fatigue off of his body. And the one thing that he said, if all you Dent Trainer members, I just put out the tutorial of him using the Colafria, and I showed his reaction on his first pull with Colafria, and he goes, "Oh, what is this? Yeah, look at this." He's kind of broken English. He's like, "Look at this, John." He says, this changed my life. Look, it was his second day there. And he said he was going home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? Mike over at colafria.com, he's still selling it. And the whole Colafria craze kind of died down a little bit, but he's got that sticky. He's got the sticky tabs that he's developed as well. And I haven't gotten a hold of them yet, but I've seen some pretty impressive stuff being pulled with those sticky tabs. Almost frightening, like you're going to pull the door off the car. Now, Cola Free on its own is not going to pull the door off the car, but those sticky tabs he has, those are insane.
Mm-hmm. Hey guys, so
did you guys get a hold of those yet?
I have not. Hey, he, you know what though? He sent me some of his sticky icky. He called it sticky icky, Cola Fria type glue, and I've kind of tested a little bit, but I haven't had a chance to fool around with it. I'm kind of addicted to just the Cola Fria in general. I mean, I also do like Colton Speedy glue. I thought was pretty decent, but I always grab the Cola Fria. And I just did a tutorial on it, and I showed, Colton Speedy glue, done right, you can knock some big dents out. I mean, I showed it on Dent Trainer. And, hey, you know what? If you got 65 bones to throw around, throw it around. You know what I mean? It'll get you in the ballpark. And but if you want to invest $400 and get a badass slide hammer with some killer, shocking stuff, then Cola Free is definitely that at that level. So.
Yeah. And Mike over at colafria.com, he was selling that. He came up with his own sticky icky, but he was selling the original Cola Fria as well.
Right.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, the people who knock it, who don't try that are just crazy. I mean,
totally.
Yeah, they just, I'm just going to let everybody know, once you stop learning in an industry, and look, I have nothing to gain by promoting Cola Fria. Look, I have nothing to gain at all, and if any of you guys know how I am, like I said, I really have to love something before I put my name behind it. I will not, if you send me something, I'm not just going to come out and say it's good unless it really is good.
Right.
And, that Cola Fria, like right off the rip, it was freaking good,
Did you see the post that the original guy that brought it to US, he posted one where he was taking out, I'd say a $50 size dent on a roof rail, and it looked like he was using a glue tab. It's a little hard to see, but he pulled that whole thing with Cola Fria.
Nice.
And got it out nearly 90%. I mean, you blend it out and it would have been fine. It would have been good.
Right.
Right.
Well, hey guys,
and so I think we haven't seen the end of what the possibilities of Cola
I agree
Fria
with
is.
you. I agree with you right there, man. If we can learn how to make a small tab bite, that's going to be nice. What I see about Cola Fria is it'll pull up into the crown. It's not going to knock down a crown for you. People need to realize that. It'll roll the dent up into a crown and cause that reverse pressure needed to blend the crown out, but it's not going to take a crown down, So that's been my big experience with it. But before we jump into our tech tips here, Daniel and Vince, I know we've been going a little while here on the show. I want to go ahead and announce we do have 2 new reviews here. So Vince calleth and I answereth, and I have some reviews to have here. Make sure you guys put your name on here, but I'm going to go ahead and say Dent Man Mike. Just wanted to say thank you for all the great reviews and knowledge. Just signed up for Dent Trainer as well. As a 3-year tech, I didn't think I would gain as much as a newbie. I was wrong. There is so much on there that any level tech can gain from. The ride-along videos with John was great. Keep up the great work. The tech tips are great as well. And that was not planned, guys. That was not. You check it out. It's on our reviews on the podcast. And then the next one is Jay Griff. And his is love your show, guys. I asked one of you at the MTE this year if you guys were going to continue the podcast, and glad to hear you guys have been adding shows. Great tech tips, tool advice, and knowledge to help out all techs listening out there. Also love how you put links to the tools and recommendations on your blog so I can check them out after I listen to the podcast. Great job from Jay. So kick ass, man. We want some more reviews like that, so jump on there. Get on it. So what's your tech tip?
Thanks for those reviews. Go ahead, Daniel.
Daniel, the man. I got to think of one.
Oh, tech tip? This is where we're going to? Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to steal this one from Mike since he's not here. He actually came up with this. So we're talking about fatigue and being comfortable. So Have you ever worked on the bottom of a door and how uncomfortable sitting down can be? Well, if you go to your local sporting goods store and you get one of those stadium seats, and they're metal, they fold, and they hook onto a stadium, and they're padded. Well, you can put those on the ground, and so you can sit on the ground but have some back support while you're working on the bottom of a door. And so a lot of people, if you got kids, you probably have one of these in your garage. Just stick it in your truck, and next time you have to work on the bottom of the door and sit on the ground. And sometimes that ground is, burning hot. You burn your butt off. There's my tech tip.
All right, Vinny, what you got, buddy?
Okay, well, in the spirit of what we're talking about, what I do on a daily basis is I have ACE wrist support wraps that I wrap around my wrists. And you kind of look like a tough guy from the 80s wearing, like sweatbands in a way. But they do save my wrists. Just last month, I had to get a cortisone shot in one of my wrists because I have arthritis in it, which is probably caused by this process that we all love. And I do wrap my wrists with ACE wrist support. They're $10. You get them online. You get them at Walmart. You get them all over the place. But I don't like the ones that wrap around your thumbs at all. It's just they look like weightlifting wrist supports.
Yeah.
And you just put them on there, and it just gives you that added wrist protection, especially if you're a door dinger. The hail guys, they don't have to deal with that too much. They're using more of their forearms and their shoulders to fix dents. But if you're a door dinger, you really need to protect your wrists. And I have there's plenty of different companies that make them, but I choose to go with the ACE ones. I wash them on a weekly basis. They last about 6 months. They're $10, and I go out and get 2 more.
Nice.
That's my tip.
Very good, very good. Mine's kind of like a double whammy, but it's the same thing that I'm talking about here. We have been talking about glue pulling. And what I want to tell you guys out there, I know this might be common knowledge to some folks here, but bear with me because there's other folks out here that a light bulb may pop on the top of their head when they hear this. So when you're glue pulling, if you don't feel, number one, if you notice that the glue is not sticking to the car, but it's sticking to your tab, well, that means that your car has not been prepped properly, okay? So if you use alcohol, but it just still doesn't seem to be working, take a little bit of rubbing compound and rub that area down, and I guarantee you're going to get your next pull, okay? But now here's tech tip 2. I ran out of rubbing compound the other day and had the smallest amount in the bottom of the bottle. And it was one of them desperation moments. I needed some for the day. A lot of times we're buffing out little scuffs where you got to wet sand some of the dents here and there. Hopefully not too often, but it is what it is sometimes. I added some water to my 3M rubbing compound, shook it up, and I'm telling you, that stuff kicks ass at buffing. I mean, it's like the water keeps it on the panel longer, and it buffs up quicker, shines up better, and we started doing that now to our compound around here. So that ridiculously expensive 3M compound, water that stuff down, kind of like you used to do your dad's bottle of vodka when you were stealing it when you were a kid. Throw a little water in there, shake it up. Dad'll never know. We used to do that to my buddy at his. I swear his dad was a whole bottle of wild turkey, man. We used to go into his kitchen. We used to take shots of his wild turkey and fill it up with water. Man, I guarantee you that thing was probably reduced by 80% by the time we was done with it. His dad was probably making glasses with that wild turkey, man. But he probably thought he was a big time drinker. Like nothing would mess him up,
I've been drinking all night. I don't even have a buzz. Right?
I'm the man.
Can't catch a buzz. Yeah.
So anyhow, guys, that's it, fellas. We're going to go ahead and close out on this episode of PDR Tool Time. Now, what you guys say?
Level up your tools.
And don't forget to join the revolution. And speaking about joining the revolution, right now, go over to denttrainer.com and get a year for $289. Lifetime renewal at that cost. And on top of that, you can also, we brought our 6-month back because Mike keeps mentioning it. So he's like, John, I mentioned it. Oops. It was kind of an oops thing. So we got that available for $179. So anyhow, guys, we will catch you on the flip side.
I always preach PDR is like mixed martial arts. You have to know how to be a black belt in all categories. At Den Trainer, you can improve your skills no matter what skill level you are as a PDR technician. We have all the latest video tutorials that are described in extreme detail with diagrams and clear explanations. Let's say you're a route tech and you want to branch out into the hail. First thing you'll want to know is how to write a proper estimate. Or perhaps you're curious about the line board and want to become better at reading that particular reflection. Or maybe what's up with the new cold glue? We have it at Den Trainer. Check it out. Memberships start as low as $59 per month. And right now, you can sign up for 6 months for only $179. Become a Den Trainer member. You'll be glad you did.